transient. Market crashes are like that. The 29.2% collapse on October 19, 1987, arrived without warning or convincing reason, and at the time, it seemed like the end of the financial world. Smaller squalls strike more often, with more localized effect. In fact, a hierarchy of turbulence, a pattern that scales up and down with time, governs this bad financial weather. At times, even a great bank or brokerage house can seem like a little boat in a big storm. The market's second wild trait, almost cycles, is prefigured in the story of Joseph. Pharaoh dreamed that 7 fat cattle were feeding in the meadows, when 7 lean kine rose out of the Nile and ate them. Likewise, 7 scraggly ears of corn consumed 7 plump ears. Joseph, a Hebrew slave, called the dreams prophetic. 7 years of famine would follow 7 years of prosperity. He advised Pharaoh to stockpile grain for bad times to come. And when all passed as prophesied, Joseph opened all the storehouses and sold unto the Egyptians. And all countries came into Egypt to Joseph to buy corn, because that the famine was so sore in all lands. Given the profits he and Pharaoh must have made, one might call Joseph the first international arbitrageur. That pattern, familiar from Hearst's work on the Nile, also appears in markets. A big 3% change in IBM stock one day might precede a 2% jump another day, then a 1.5% change, then a 3.5% move, as if the first big jumps were continuing to echo down the succeeding day's trading. Of course, this is not a regular or predictable pattern, but the appearance of one is strong. Behind it is the influence of long-range dependence in an otherwise random process, or, put another way, a long-term memory through which the past continues to influence the random fluctuations of the present. I call these 2 distinct forms of wild behavior the Noah effect and the Joseph effect. They are 2 aspects of one reality. One, the other, and usually both, can be read in many financial charts. They mix together like 2 primary colors. The red of one blends with the blue of the other to produce an infinite palette of purples and violets. Evidence so far suggests each market, wheat, cotton, dollar, yen, S&P, or GM, may have a different hue, a different mix of the 2 forms of wildness. To measure these 2 effects, I developed new statistical tools. Some focus on alpha, the index mentioned earlier. A low alpha market would be risky, prone to wild price swings. A market with higher alpha differs less from the classic coin-tossing market. Other of my statistical tests focus on H, the Hearst coefficient for long-range dependence. Shuffling. To complete the test, just compare the deck before and after shuffling. If there is a difference, it must be due to the long-term dependence in the original data. The precise sequence must have been important in the original data, and the degree of that importance can be measured. If there is no before and after difference, then whatever dependence was originally present must have been negligible. Result: a measure for long-term dependence. Now, as fate would have it, under some circumstances, these two effects are so closely interrelated that H is simply equal to 1 over alpha. Take the coin tossing case. Its H is 1/2 and its alpha is 2. Mathematically, the relation between the two effects is quite profound. It presents what mathematicians call a dual relationship.